Well, I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by Deborah Weinswig, the founder and CEO of Coresight Research. Deborah, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Now, Deborah, you're a very seasoned watcher of both China, retail, and 11/11. You can't get a broader canvas than that. So, what's your overall take of 11/11 2020?
David, that is a big question. I think that we saw Alibaba, experiment with a new strategy, which, by all accounts was a smashing success. And, this idea that, especially in 2020, where, right, consumers might want to feel more engaged with others, have a reason to celebrate, fun, gamification, engagement, live streaming, they offered it all. I mean, as did the, kind of other platform players in China. And, the consumer reacted, right? I mean, they shopped, they engaged, and, obviously at the highest level, I mean, I think it broke all records. And I do think that great communication, great customer service, having this idea of like a festival and fun, right? It wasn't just what we saw in terms of sales in China, right? This was truly a global shopping festival. And, for me, as somebody who has, spent many years, kind of in the, kind of throes of Double 11, whether it was in, kind of China or this year, from the US, I do think that we've continued to see this, kind of greater appreciation for what it is, for what it represents. And it's just, to me, it's right. It's a day or in the past, and, here are several days just to have fun and engage and to share and to have, this great experience. And I do think that the experience, sometimes as we're talking to those in the West, helping them understand what leads to conversion and ultimately customer satisfaction and happiness, there is this additional kind of focus on the consumer experience around Double 11, which I think is what's led to not only the success this year, but in the past.
Now, you mentioned gamification and having fun. I suppose you could sort of umbrella that under social commerce. Now, social commerce has been long talked about and has serially underperformed outside of Asia. So do you think that social commerce is going to take off outside of Asia in the next few years? And what is the catalyst that's needed to make that happen?
David, I've spent, going back to when we first, kind of discovered social commerce and the impact, and once again, this fun factor, this gamification from a consumer perspective, and also, right, if the amount of data that's available to the retailer, the brand, so that they can do an even better job of this customer service, this customer experience aspect. I've likened it, and maybe this is the right way or the wrong way to think about it, but this idea that in the West, we still love our credit cards, right? We really haven't moved to, right, a digital wallet or digital payments. And, maybe it's that, we have other, kind of, if you will, TV shopping networks and whatnot. And maybe that's good enough for right now. And so we're not willing to move to more of a social commerce live streaming experience. We still don't have, right, the platforms, they do feel very antiquated when we're comparing them to what we see in China. And I do think, right, we need the platforms. We would have thought that, some of the companies that are involved with, kind of, if you will, TV shopping networks would lead this. There's definitely some startups, but it's, I think that the customer, and certainly in 20, where they've spent more time shopping from a, kind of digital first, I do think there's a greater interest and curiosity, but we still don't have the foundation at this point to move ahead. And what we've seen is also really interesting. Those companies in the West who've really kind of jumped in with both feet, they tend to be more global or have been influenced from China in terms of, right, just a curiosity around, what Ali and JD and others are doing to engage the consumer. And that, I think, has led to their, stepping out and doing more around social commerce and live streaming.
Well, Well, I think it's quite intriguing to see how many global companies who are used to importing things they do around the world into China are now exporting things from China to other markets, the way in which they work, as an example.
It's interesting as well because and I couldn't agree with you more. I think in terms of inspiration, whether it's online or offline, and that's also, David, I think what's really critical is we're seeing incredible innovation offline, right? I mean, talking to many retailers and also just analyzing the data, offline was very strong for Double 11. And, this idea of consumer engagement at the point of purchase with a sales associate continues to be important globally. And it's just this idea that there is an element around curiosity that, whether it's from the brand or the retailer or the consumer. And, from a Western perspective, the idea of personalization and customization, but shopping, I mean, I've always called it, right, shopping is a sport in China, right? You go to dinner or whatnot with your friends, right? You're all showing each other what's in your cart. And there's this wow, look what I found. And this is how I found it. And I'm so excited and whatnot. And I feel in the West, there's still this drudgery around shopping. And it is, I do think that global brands, can look to China. I mean, whether it's right through TMIC and, having data-driven, if you will, kind of product development so that the success rate is much higher. But this idea that everything is also very much data-based. So it's science with art on top, as opposed to, I think, in the West still, it's very much from the gut, and it's very much an art form, which is fabulous. But I do think that to kind of deliver a best-in-class experience now, we also need the data aspect.
Well, I think that 2021 is shaping up to be an even more interesting year from a retail perspective than 2020. I hope we'll find many opportunities to talk about that in the future. But for the moment, Deborah Weinswig, the founder and CEO of Coresight Research, thank you very much indeed for joining us.